This is a message for all my creators out there. Make stuff with your friends. You do not need a fancy team. You do not need to wait until all of the pieces are in place. You do not need to have, if you're an artist, a musical artist, you don't need a label. If you're a writer, you don't need a publisher. Just work with your friends, okay? It feels good, I promise. And you'll never know what talents people have until you work with them, honestly. I've had people in my circle for a long time that I haven't worked with, and I'll start to work with them, and it's like, I didn't know you could write like that. Even my brother can freestyle. I had no idea. I had no clue. And we were hanging out with some of his friends, and he starts freestyling. We were all taking turns, and freestyling is not my thing, so I was like, but he was so good, and I would never know because he doesn't talk about it, But everybody has a talent like that. Everybody has something that they're good at and they want to share. And you don't have to do a creative job professionally. You don't even have to really pursue it as a hobby. Just do it on a random night with your friends. Like, make art together. What a joy in this life to have friends and make art. And if you get to do them at the same time, baby, that's living. That is living. And, it's going to come from surprising places. I was working on a song with my brother's friend tonight. You never know what being around people will lead to. And it's not about thinking about any kind of end result. Oh, we're all going to go on tour together and take over the world. No, it's not about that. It's about today is Wednesday and I worked on a song today. You know what I mean? But I didn't work on it by myself. I worked with someone. And the more you can collaborate, the more you'll learn about yourself, the more you'll learn about other people, the more you'll find out about your friends, and anybody that you're working with, whether that's somebody well, maybe it's the time to shoot your shot on Instagram and say, oh my gosh, I love the way you play guitar. Would you be maybe interested in writing with me sometime? Or I love your drawings. Could you make me a line drawing and I'll paint it? And, just whatever I'm not a visual artist, so, I don't know that side of it as much, but combine mediums. I have a friend of mine who's making album art for me because we just have deep conversations about art and concepts and music, and it can be totally cross media. If you're a musician, you can talk to people who do art or vice versa. And, in completely different modalities too. It doesn't even have to be music and art. Say you like creating, say you're a writer and somebody maybe is a comedian, and you're like, oh, we should make something together, and you sit and you write something funny. Just play and experiment, but don't just play in a room with no one else. It's a joy to invite people in and to go and see their studio, for them to see your studio, for whatever it is, right? Or just if maybe you live in the same town, you go to their house, they go to your house. Or maybe you live across the country and you do a Zoom call. It feels good to collaborate. It really does. And you never know what little gem is going to be in there that the other person pulls out for you, and you're like, oh, yes, that's it. Because that's one of the really, really special things about friendship, is that person or those people will help you know things about yourself, and they can synthesize things that you say and sum them up for you, and you're like, yeah, yes, exactly. I would have never put it that way, but that's exactly how I'm feeling. That moment is really, really special. And even if you're just sitting in a room talking, that's really special. But if you're making art and you're like, I've got this concept and I don't know, and the other person gives you that idea, you're like, yes, that's the idea I've been looking for. Now I can write, or now I can paint, or now I can whatever it is, So I have found so much joy from doing it lately, collaborating with people. And just because you can wear a lot of hats doesn't mean you got to do everything by yourself. In fact, the more hats you wear, the more people you should be connecting with, because you can connect with them on different levels. And, if you do a lot of writing, maybe switch it up. Like, maybe, if you're if you're in a music setting, maybe you show up to the session and you're not the writer. Maybe you show up and you're just the artist. Maybe you show up and you just play guitar. Maybe you show up and you produce. Maybe you're behind the computer. Maybe you're being DJ Mustard that day and you're not being Kendrick. Or maybe you're always DJ Mustard and today you're going to be Kendrick. Mix it up, change it up. And if you're around friends and people that make you feel safe, you should feel supported in changing what you're doing. And you can explore new things, and you can try new activities, and you can try new facets of that thing you're making. I never paint with watercolor. Well, I've got some watercolors. You want to try? I think it'd be really cool. That support, somebody having maybe resources or supplies, literal supplies that you don't have. If you don't sing and they have a microphone, right? Or whatever it is, take the best that you can out of the situation and say, oh my gosh, well, for me, I have a piano if you ever want to come play it, and then people will come play it. And you're like, I never knew you could do that. That sounds so cool. Oh my God, I had no idea you played piano. People will surprise you, and that is where a lot of inspiration can happen. And when people are saying things or playing things or painting things or writing things, you have another external source of inspiration. In that moment, you can take one word or one brush stroke and you can get the whole seed of a new idea. And you don't collaborate to go, what can I mine from this? No. It's you ping pong that idea off of somebody. They throw it back at you. You're like, yes, I like that. Where's this going? And you one step at a time down the line, you get towards the thing that you're making. And it might not all get done in one day. It might take a long time. It might take weeks. It might take months. But, I think about people like Beyonce, the master collaborators. She is a masterful collaborator. Taylor Swift, too. And a lot of these people, and it's easy to go, well, they've got money, they've got connections, of course they can collaborate with whoever they want. Those collaborations are even more strategic because the stakes are higher. And Chappell Roan, she just said she started just making stuff with her friends, and she's doing pretty good, And none of this is about the end result. None of this is about the destination. It's about the journey. Like I said yesterday. And I don't know, there's something to be said for just working with people who make you feel like you can be your full self, because it, as important of a practice as it is to show up for yourself and be yourself for yourself, you can, you don't have to pull from nothing. If you're feeling, especially if you're feeling like you can't do that for yourself, lean on your friends, and then they will lean on you when they need it. And that's the beauty of it. Everybody's going to have a time when they don't want to sit and write. Everybody's going to have a time where they don't want to do their creative outlet because, fill in the blank excuse. You've made them, I've made them. And I think probably everybody does. And there might be the, few and far between people who are like, no, I never have struggled with being afraid of my own power in my art. But if you find those people, please send them to me. I would like to interview them and know how they do that, because I find it can be hard to be consistent when you're afraid of success, which is something that I have struggled with in the past. But that's a topic for another video. When you work with your friends, magic happens, because you get to be in a synergy, and not in a corporate sense or a buzzword sense, but in the true sense of the word synergy. You get to be in a symbiotic relationship where you are both learning and growing and changing and morphing into who you're going to become. And how beautiful it is to have a witness. How beautiful it is to have people cheering you on. How good it feels to cheer them on and to be a witness for their successes and to be a shoulder on their bad days and to make happy songs and sad songs and to make anything you can with anyone who feels right. It's an honor as humans to be in a collective and to be in community. And it doesn't have to be capital C community of people in your town. You never know where they're going to come from. I never know where they're going to come from. And a lot of it, we can take advantage of social media now, where you get to be around different people than who are physically near you. Your best friend could live 10 bajillion miles from you, and there's no barrier now. So there's no reason not to try to collaborate with as many people as possible. And I would like to collaborate with as many people, like-minded, driven, and like the people, you know who you are. I don't know, like fun, creative people. Message me. You need a piano player? I got you. But there's just something really special about people reaching out and working together, because when the world is crazy, we can actually solve and change things by coming together. And we are so much more powerful together than we are when we're apart. And that's the synergy. We are worth more together than we are apart. And we have it's almost a solemn thing to, there's this joyousness and this lightness, but it's almost a duty to, collaborate and put our heads together and seize the quote-unquote means of production in terms of creativity, because when we unite together, we're stronger. And what a beautiful thing that union is. And we can come together and disagree on stuff, and we can disagree creatively, we can disagree culturally, and to a certain extent we can disagree politically. There are bridges that we can cross, bridges we can cross when we create together. And you never know where your next inspiration is going to come from. But if you surround yourself with people who make you feel inspired, who make you feel that sense of growth and that sense of connection and that sense of safety, but not stagnation, where you're safe to grow, where you're in an incubator, where you create your own incubator around you, not a bubble, but an incubator, where you can put all the good things in your environment. And for me, that has looked like getting art for the walls and getting my stuff out of storage and stuff like, part of it is physically setting up spaces to feel creative and safe and like be able to grow within. But a lot of that is a metaphysical sense between people, and in my opinion, of being able to sense this safety. And it's not stuck, it's safe, where it's like you get to say the weird thing, you get to make the rough vocal, you get to paint the first draft, you get to write the scrap paper. And other people, if they're honest, they'll tell you if it's really whack, as they ought to. But there's a time for that, and there's a time for brainstorming, and we have a collective power. When we come together as artists, as creatives, we have a power not just among ourselves, but in the entire world. And we should not take lightly at all that we possess a great power to change the world. and to, augment the situations and circumstances of people. And we can make this world better if we work together. And there is a time and a place for working in a cabin in the woods by yourself. And there's a time for being in the town square, playing your guitar for everyone, and then them saying, I've got a flute, I've got this stone soup, You make something out of nothing, where everyone brings their own magic, and you can change the world. And I truly believe that it's not just something that we get to do, but it's almost something we have to do, where on any, even minuscule level, we get to change the world. We get to try anyway. We get to try, and we have to try. So, and it's easier to try when we're together, because there's a reason choirs are used to send the message up to God and not a single vocalist. There's a reason why the orchestra is more powerful than a quartet. There's a reason why when people march together, more gets done. There's a reason why when we unionize, things change. There's a reason why when we all vote together, things change. There's a reason why collective action works. And it's because we as a collective are stronger than we as individuals. Anyways, make stuff with your friends. It's more powerful than you think. And this is an open call for people who want to work with me. Let's do it. Let's make stuff. Let's play.